Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again. Hope you are doing well. Today we're rambling about the Noise Engineering Basimilus Iteritas Alia. It is a 10 HP full synthesis voice focused on drums, made out of FM and additive synthesis, and it sounds like this. Okay, I think it's high time we cover the BIA on this channel, so let's do that. I'll bring it in right here. I'm just going to send it 4 on the floor on the trigger input so we can get big, long decays to just listen to basically what's going on with all of the different parameters we're going to be tweaking. I will say, while we're doing it this way, what really makes the BIA so successful, I would say, and why people love it so much is the ability to change the sounds completely over modulation. Like, to make linear sequences out of one voice and a set of crazy modulation, like you can jump from a kick to a snare to all of these different things on the way that you might not hear when I'm just tweaking the knobs in like a linear way. So we'll get to doing all of those things along the way, but just consider in your head, I guess, while I'm doing this, that, you know, how could you modulate this in a way to jump between these different sounds? But I want to demonstrate the sounds to start, so let's do just that. First, you have the pitch knob in the top left, so there's fine tune with this clicky encoder. You can barely hear it tuning, and of course I have these super long decays. You won't hear it happening too much. If you turn it in though, you get coarse tune, and then you will definitely hear it happening a lot. There's also this macro adjustment here, the 3-way switch for basically a 2-octave switch. So you have bass here, which we're on, alto, treble. Maybe I'll pitch this down just a little bit to put us into a nice range between them. And you get CV control over these 3-way switches. I think is kind of the killer feature of what I was just saying about switching between them all. Like if you're jumping in 2 octaves using CV over the range basically here, that can make a huge difference in tone. There's also these 3 macro modes, which I'm going to go through in a little bit. Okay, let's start with the envelope section then. So on the attack front, if you turn it to the right, you get more attack. If we make this super snappy, maybe you can hear it more. And to add to that as well, if you go to the left, if we put it in the middle, they say it's kind of like an analog pop, and you definitely hear a little bit of click, right? So you don't get like a dedicated transient control when you're designing drums, but you do get a pop if you put it in the middle. So keep that in mind if that is something you're after. Then to the left, you don't get more attack, but you get noise source mixed in. So if you really want things to start off snappy, noise source is there. So that's on top of the 6 oscillators. Get some clapping. There's no pitch control over that noise, I don't think. If I change the pitch here, that noise source stays the same. But we'll bring that back up to noon for now just to check it out. Pitch that back down a bit. Then we have the decay, of course. So if you do it super short, you can get this like impulse almost. I'm surprised how long it actually is for being at the shortest settings. You can't have it in oscillator mode, which is kind of a shame. I almost am like curious what it would be like to send BIA through other things, but there are many other, Laquelic comes to mind in my rack anyway, but there's many other firmwares that are actually available for the Alia 2 that can do that as an oscillator mode. Then we have our wave folder, so in the first 3/4 of it, it's sort of like setting a threshold. And this is a piece of minutia. I don't know how important it is in practice. But when you get to the final quarter, you get into what they call pulse train, and it just kind of, instead of being a threshold that like will come back, it'll just enter noise territory in a delicious way, I might say. But then I like this too, right? And one thing I also really like to do, and I'm hesitant to jump ahead here, but we are going to do it for this one right now, is patching the envelope into the fold so that it starts in the lowest thing and then goes upright. So bring my decay down a little bit. Yeah. And you can just kind of mangle that. It's very tempting to use the envelope for all of these things, right? And there are some also internal patches, being the liquid. I'll get to that in a moment, but there's lots of things on board that I'm very much like, I want to apply that envelope to everything. So fold is a nice one to do it too. We'll bring that back down. Okay, let's jump over to the harmonics section now. If we bring in the harmonics knob, this will increase the decay of the other oscillators. So in the first position, you are only hearing one oscillator. Just have a simple sine wave. But as we bring it in, you'll hear those other oscillators with longer decays. And you hear, they're not all exactly the same, right? Like there is some polyphony behind the scenes to that, right? And I don't mean in terms of creating chords, that's just to say that like the envelopes aren't exactly the same. The harmonic knob changes the decay of the different oscillators. Now I hear that's like octaves going up. If we increase the spread now, that will spread the pitches between the six. And let's go down an octave to the bass mode. So if you have a really deep fundamental and you spread it, you get these like super additive things, right? Harmonics are cranked. Almost sounds like an octave effect. Almost sounding like physical modeling in my mind, but if we bring in some fold, you'll get into those real phase modi things, and I love that for it. Now all of this has been in the sine mode in the skin setting. Listen to that. Nope. Listen to that. My Manus is jealous. I find I don't use the noise source on the attack side too much, because I just prefer to like usually bring it in, make my own noise elsewhere. But if you want to make snares, that is a very handy source, so we'll bring the attack a little more. Yeah. So basically we've made an extremely complex waveform out of a simple sine, but if we turn off the spread, off the harmonic, off the wave folding, go back into our simple sine wave, you also get this morph control, so this changes the wave shape of all of the different oscillators. So you can morph between all the different oscillators, between the sine wave, the triangle, the saw. And I'm interested in this part, how it compares to the Manus, because I really love the Manus, but my understanding was the Manus is just like BIA but saws, but you can do saws, right? Here. I mean, that is a square. I'm definitely hearing some Manus-esque stuff on there. So if we take the envelope out, and I love my variable wave shaping, if I patch that into the shape, oh, there's no, there is for the morph. Here's the morph, sorry. I was expecting a shape. Envelope out. It's popping, but I like it. Very cool. If we put that into the saw wave and then add some harmonics, let's go back into our bass. And fold that. Spread a little less. Ooh, hello. Go into alto mode. spread up. And you get supersaws in here somewhere. Fold off, spread down a little bit. Yeah. Go ahead, fold some supersaws. Try and create some musical intervals. Yeah. Oh. Pitch that up just a little bit. Yes. So we've been in the skin mode, and that sounds like a noise album. I'm going to take this down to a super straightforward patch to compare the different modes. They describe that as 6 oscillator additive for tonal sounds, snares, and synth stabs. The middle is the liquid one, which adds a pitch bend. And that seems very, like, pitch bend is the classic drum synthesis thing. Now, like with everything here, you could just use skin mode and patch the envelope out into the pitch, although it's definitely in a lot crazier range you'd have to attenuate. But I just point that out to be like, don't get too focused on the algorithms. The best part about them is that you're able to jump between them over CV. But you can kind of patch all of these things in yourself by use of other parameters. So the skin mode adds that pitch bend, which is great for drums. And I would say if you're making drums, there's little reason to use, at least what I'm hearing right now, little reason to use the skin over the liquid mode, right? You want that little pitch bend unless you're sending your own. The last one, if we jump over to the metal mode, this is 3-op phase mod, and then it starts to sound real noisy in a nice way. All those things that I love about phase mod, but made pretty easy. And I think that's some of the best about noise engineering stuff, is it takes these insanely complex things like 3-op phase FM and makes them really easy to just grab and tweak. And for what it's worth as well, allows you to just jump between them as well. So if I send CV into our algorithm selector with the S/L/M, I can jump in between all of these. So if I put in liquid in the middle, you can just jump in between them all, which I think is kind of the bread and butter of the BIA. Waveform up. Decay down so we can kind of reach the end in between. We can just, yeah. Harmonics down a little bit. Yeah. You can do the same for the octave as well. Yeah. So this is what people really love about the BIA. I will make a conjecture. So I'll send, I don't know, let's send, like I'm jumping octaves over CV. If I send a LFO over to the algorithms, let's just use a triangle wave. This isn't clocked, but in it goes. Sine wave. Let's go back to 4 on the floor. Unclocked LFO to make it extra crazy. But if I also, we'll just take it out here, we'll do 4 on the floor. I'll go through some knob tweaking on other parameters. So this is the liquid mode. Decay. Just a hair of noise on the beginning, and then we'll just get crazy with it elsewhere. Dude. And it is, I don't know if I'm hearing aliasing right now. The manual makes mention of the pitch having digital aliasing sort of intentionally. I don't know if that's what I'm hearing right now, but I do love unapologetically digital modules. Let's bring in a little bit of reverb just to doom this thing out. And again, I'm hesitant to use that noise source because it gets so noisy that I almost prefer the other ones. You also lose your attack, right? Although, saying that, what if we modulate it? Bring in that attack. Yeah. Spread. Liquids go to the skin mode. See, that's the other thing too. I was just saying all that about how you probably wouldn't want to not use liquid mode, but when you're using so much other modulation, it can be pretty easy to, you know, create chaos elsewhere and not need that pitch bend. Here we go. Ooh. Ooh. Again, I think while the algorithms on board are great, what makes this thing so special in people's minds, I believe, is just the ability to CV control it. Let's do some over morph. Yes. Bring the reverb down a hair. Liquid. I love when you get into that just like, I want to say hairy sort of space, and I think that's why I love the Manus so much, is it just seems to like be incapable of getting out of that hairy space that you're hearing right now. Hairy Space, the new album from Tafony. So, kick monster, modulate the spread, modulate the morph again. Oh. Yes. I think FM kicks are just so punchy. Listen to that. Let's go into metal mode just to... Nope, that's not very punchy. If we modulate the fold now. That's the other thing, like, the morph control is like a wave shaping control, right? So you can morph this into other wave shapes. Oh, not hearing a lot now, though. Maybe we're almost at LFO territory in terms of 3-op FM. But if you modulate the fold... Yes. Sorry, what I was trying to say is you're wave shaping sines into similar shapes to like the supersaws that you have elsewhere, but you can also morph all 6 into this, and especially in the phase mod one, it really is like in that territory. That sounds so good. Let's go down an octave. Guess I better... Ooh. Let's modulate that fold now. Just makes noise. I guess that's what we're after. Spread. Some pitch bend happening when you modulate the spread in this way, right? At slow rates. And having said that, what happens if we go into audio rate to modulate some of these things, like the, I don't know, pitch? You can add another bit of FM by pitch mod. What if we do morph at audio rate? Harmonics? Might be too fast for digital module. Maybe we'll do... Ooh, scanning between the algorithms at audio rate? Just kind of get some aliasing, right? Again, this is where I'm like, do you need a noise source? Because there's so many other places to do it, right? Yes. Audio rate, modulation over the octave. And we got our space farts. FM. Reverb's out. Let's bring in some more tricks. And then I think the last thing that we definitely need to demonstrate is using it as a voice, because it also excels at that. I feel like that is a very classic. Every drum module in Eurorack is also great for synth voices, so let's do just that. Let's hit play. And get basic waveforms. Awesome FM. The wave folder on this is so good. I don't know, I always say, or I've said it a couple times recently, that like the digital wave folders sound really good. The attack, even completely maxed, is pretty small. And just bring it up to a point where it stops popping. Bring in a little bit of reverb. Spread up. Get some like almost polyphony sounding additive, right? Nice bass line. I will say I myself find myself in spots where I'm like, oh, the bass is too low and the treble is too, or the alto is too high. Oh, there we go. Adding a little bit of noise at the beginning does add a little something. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's the good stuff. No, now the spread isn't good. Triangle. Saw. There's like feedback happening in between. I wonder if you could see that waveform in isolation, what it would look like. Saw. Square. Yes. Try different algorithms. This is with the pitch bend from Liquid. Maybe not for bass lines. Here's the metal though. Fold down. Harmonics down, spread down. I'll go to alto. Fold in. Harmonics in. Oh, that's cool. I was just about to say I didn't like that one as much for... Yes. Just gonna say that I didn't like that algorithm as much for synth lines, but then here I am loving that. A little less reverb. Yeah. There's somewhere in between the triangle and the saw that is really special, and I wonder what it is. Yeah. And then of course there's just endless chaos to be had. So And I think to play us out, I'm just going to do some jamming, focusing on that CV modulation to really create an entire kit out of the BIA, like so many people love to do so much. So, all right, I'm Tafony. Thanks so much for watching. There's a meme in my Discord about how much we love the Manus, so I'm excited to compare this to the Manus now because I have never given the BIA as much time of day as the Manus because I love the Manus so much. So I'm excited to get into that one as well, which we will be doing very soon. So hey, I'm Tafony. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, like, comment, subscribe, do all of that crap. The YouTube is always on my case about not promoting to you. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.